and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm a college sophomore, and for about a year, I was working as a delivery driver for a popular local restaurant. For the most part, the delivery locations were not far from the city. But then, at 11 p.m. on a random Thursday, I got an order for 2 plain cheeseburgers with fries and a Coke, with instructions to hand it to the customer. Not a super unusual order, until I checked the location and found that it was in the middle of nowhere. I didn't really have an option to decline the order, though, so I got the bag and headed out. As I got closer, an eerie feeling started to set in. The road became narrow and winding, and I hadn't seen anything, not even a gas station, in miles. When I finally reached the destination, I met an even more unsettling sight. The house I parked in front of seemed vacant, abandoned for years. It looked like it was turning black from some kind of soot, and there wasn't a single light on inside. I was sure I was being pranked by some stupid kids, which had happened before. However, I decided to do my due diligence and try my best to complete the delivery. I got out of my car with the bag, walked up onto the porch, and rang the doorbell. I was surprised it even still worked. The button had a weight to it and felt very mechanical, and the sound of it was like actual large bronze bells tolling from inside. I don't know why, but it gave me chills. A minute went by, but nobody came to the door. I knocked for good measure, but still, it seemed clear that the house was empty. I gave up and started walking back to my car. Almost as soon as I turned away, though, I got the sudden feeling that I was being watched. I tried to ignore it, but about halfway there, I couldn't resist the urge to look back. I almost couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the shadow of someone in the attic window, casting the drapes from a dim light that wasn't there before. It was literally like when someone in a horror movie sees a ghost inside a window for a split second. But when I blinked, it was still there. The drapes parted, revealing a middle-aged man. Then, just as quickly as he appeared, he left the window. I assumed he was going down to the door, but I didn't move to meet him just yet. I kept my distance. A few moments later, the door opened, and inside stood the same man from the window. Again, backlit from a puny incandescent light bulb hanging from a chain, one that I knew had not been on just a minute ago. I still did not walk toward the house. There was a palpable stench pouring out of the open door, an odor I'd never smelled before in my life. Instead, I tried confirming the order from where I stood. I said the name on the ticket, as well as the contents, asking if it was him. He nodded slowly and said the exact words that still haunt me. "Come closer. I want to eat." I literally could not move. I wanted to drop the food on the ground and run back to my car, but this man's gaze was like a tractor beam trying to pull me into the house. After a moment of terrifying silence, the man said, "Fine, I'll come to you." He then stepped down from the porch and began walking toward me, gradually entering the cone of my car headlights, which I left on. The brighter the lights got on him, the more details I could see, and they rapidly stacked on top of each other. His clothes were ragged and torn, and soaked in multiple layers of stains. The seemingly oldest ones were gray, but as they became fresher, they turned brown, and finally, a dark red. Blood. As if it couldn't get any worse, his gait was imbalanced, like he was holding something close to his hips with one hand. Finally, when he was about 10 feet from me, I snapped out of it. I threw the bag at him, then turned and sprinted back to my car. I got in faster than I ever had, slamming the door and locking it in one motion. The next thing I saw was a knife in my face. I screamed as it thrusted at me, but then it struck the glass. I was so scared, I thought it had somehow phased through the window. I collected myself and grabbed my keys out of my pocket, shoving them into the ignition with shaking hands. At the same moment that I turned the keys and I heard the engine roar to life, I heard a loud pop and hissing from outside the car. The man was leaning over, grinning at me, and I realized he had just lashed my tire. Before things could get any worse, I floored it. I nearly crashed into the house before I got control and circled around it. Then I raced down the driveway and back onto the road. I didn't care that I was driving on a flat. I drove about 5 miles before I finally found a gas station where I parked and told the clerk what my situation was. I didn't have a spare, so he helped me call a tow truck, who took my car to a shop that was closed until the morning, then was nice enough to drop me off from my work. I explained everything that happened to my boss, who called the cops, saying I should have done so a long time ago. He was right, but I was so shaken that I never thought to. The cops got my story, then went to investigate a house. According to the call I got a couple weeks later, they found nothing there. The investigation is still ongoing, but it's pretty clear that's sicko in the house. They found nothing there. The investigation is still ongoing. But it's pretty clear that sicko in the house has a victim captive and tortured him for a long time before finally killing him. Every time I think about this, I can't stop thinking about how close I came to becoming that monster's next victim.